Candace from C3 Creative. Welcome in. So today we're going to do something a little different. I have a store-bought wreath that I thought, hey, this is cute. It's not great, but it's a pretty, it's a decent asparagus fern wreath, and I thought it was good. I added a little hanger to the back, but I want to do something a little more with this, and I'm thinking we could make this patriotic. So I'm going to show you how you could take a store-bought wreath that's not quite what you want. I'm going to add this little patriotic floral bush to it, and then we're going to add our own bow, and we're going to make this into something more. So I'm going to start with kind of some tips for you, and I'm going to move you down so you can see a little bit here. Okay, so now that you can see a little bit better, here's my asparagus fern wreath, and I've got the top lined up right there. So there's where my hook is, and here's what I have planned for ribbons. So we're gonna make our bow last. The first step is we're gonna put in our bush, and this is called a pusher. So I pushed this up. It was a little bit longer because I want it to just kind of complement the fern. I don't want it to be sticking out too far. So I'm just gonna snip all these off. And the main thing to know when you're doing a grapevine, this is an angel vine, it's an asparagus fern and it's on an angel vine. But the main thing to know when you're doing these is you want your greenery, your picks, whatever you're putting in needs to all be going in the same direction. And I'll show you what I mean once I get all this cut here. Almost done. Okay, so these are all cut. I'm gonna move this to the side here. But notice how this is going in a circular pattern. So whenever we start, so what we'll do is follow the same pattern around. And I think looking at this, I'll probably put the bow right here at the bottom. So we'll focus on adding things starting at the top. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by pushing this in all the way around and see how my spacing is before I ever glue in. So I always kind of see how it looks, and then I'll go back and decide where exactly I'm going to glue, and that way you can adjust it. It's a lot harder to adjust it. And as you can see, I'm just following the direction of this, that the fern is already going, and I'm just adding these picks all the way around. And it may take more than one bush. I was thinking it might not, but maybe it will. I can't tell. Oops, this one wants to stick up. I don't like how that looks. What's going on with this part? Oh, it's a little, okay, let me pull this out. So this piece is kind of not in the place it's supposed to be. It's gotten tangled in here and come up. So I'm going to push it down. Again, sometimes you don't know what kind of quality you're gonna get, and that's okay. We will make it work. There we go. I like that better. Just need to make a little adjustment there. And there we go. And I have a few more picks. Let's see how this looks. Do I look pretty even? I think I do. So I like this pretty good. And actually, so again, all I did was cut up the one pick, and I just added it all the way around. So now what I'll do is glue that in. So I'm just gonna glue all my pieces now. So I've got my glue gun again, making sure I have an opening for the bow here. I do. I'm not gonna do these last two yet. I'm gonna save them out because I want to put my bow in first, but I'm going to get all the rest of these placed. So I'll start right here and just go in with my picks. And all I'm going to do is put a generous amount of glue on that edge, and then I'm going to just push it straight down into that wreath, just like that. And then we'll just go all the way around here and put everything in place. So what we don't want is for this to move once we get it in here. So there we go. And this should be pretty quick. So I've got ribbon stacked everywhere and it's falling down. In the wrong place. Again, this is why we try to make sure we have this done ahead of time. Put it in the wrong spot. I think it goes just a little bit further back here. There we go. That looks right. This one's going to go there. I just got glue on my finger and that was painful, but I will be okay. You'd think at this point I wouldn't even feel it. I've burned myself so many times, but I still do, and it still hurts. I still feel it. Okay, there we go. So now that we have that all glued in, I'm gonna, next step in our process is we're going to make our bow. And with this, I'm just gonna do about, looks like I'm gonna do about an 18-inch tail. So when I start my bow, I always pleat it together. You're gonna push it, almost like you're making an accordion, and then you're gonna twist. And then that's what I put into my bow maker and come down. And I'm not gonna go too big on these loops because it's not a super big wreath, but this is big ribbon. So I'll probably do about 7 inches here. And then I'm pinching and twisting, and I'm going to come across on the other side, another 7-inch loop on this side. And I use my hand to kind of just measure out. It doesn't have to be exact, but I do like it to be somewhat close. And then I'm going to cut this tail probably about just an inch longer, because I don't like my tails to be exactly the same. And then next I'm going to go in with this red ribbon, and this is a red DLux fused. And this time I'm going to do, I didn't put a tail at the top with this bigger ribbon, but with this one I am going to add a tail at the top. So I'm going to add about a 7-inch tail. And I'm going to twist and pinch and come across just like that. And I'm going to have this loop be the same size as my bottom loop, so we're doing 7 inches here. Seven inches. Make sure that tail is up. I'm going to use this to hold that in place while I cut this tail. And then I'm going to come across and just match my tail on this side. And then I'm going to cut this right up here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, while I'm holding my finger in place, I'm going to kind of arrange my loops. So what I want is these to kind of be spread out and complement each other. So I have red going this way, and I have my big stripe going this way. And then I have my tails going towards the front. Now I'm going to go in with this really pretty navy red, white, and blue fused ribbon. And this time I'm going to go about an inch shorter. So we were at 7-inch. This time I'm going to do 6-inch loops. So 1, 6 inches, and I think I'm going to do 4 loops. I really like this ribbon. I think it's pretty. So I'm just going to do 2 of the exact same size loops on each side. And then I'm going to do the same thing, hold this down, cut my tail, come across on this side, and match my tail on this side. And then my last ribbon is this white satin fused ribbon. I think this one is a 7/8 inch, it's a little bit skinnier. And I'm just gonna do, I think I'll just do a button with this to just bring in the white. So when I say button, I'm just doing a 1 loop. So I'm gonna do like this, twist and pinch. I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, and then I'm just gonna come straight down. And I'm just cutting my tail. And there we go. So there's our bow. Now I'm going to secure it with my zip tie. You can do this with a pipe cleaner or floral wire. I prefer zip ties. I just think it holds the bow tighter. And the nice cinch you get on this bow really does help when you're trying to make nice loops. I mean, it starts with good ribbon. Don't get me wrong. You got to start with a good ribbon. But outside of that, you need a good cinch. You need a good twist. And that's kind of your secret to pretty bows. It's good ribbon, good twist, nice cinch. And you want to make sure when you cinch this, it's just stacked up like a sandwich. Think of it like an ice cream sandwich or a big old club sandwich, because if the ribbons get squished and they get off track, they're not going to make the loops the way you want them to. So now I'm just going to dovetail my ends. This is a shorter ribbon, a skinnier ribbon, so I'm just cutting it at an angle, but I'm going to dovetail all the rest. And then I'm going to come in here with my lighter and just do a quick singe on the ends. This one doesn't fray, but what does happen with this fused satin is the ends get kind of messy. So it's good to just give it a quick singe. And then on the bottom here, we're gonna dovetail. And these I like to make sure that they're, like, each one is a little bit shorter. So I stagger them. So see how I've got the longest, next longest. This one I'm gonna trim up to about here so that these are staggered just like that. And again, I'm gonna do a quick singe just to keep these ends cleaned up. And then this one I do want to singe. You got to be careful with it, but this bigger ribbon will fray. Any of these anything will fray, but as opposed to the ends unraveling, this one will actually fray. It just makes it, at least in my mind, I like to know that when I send a bow out to a customer that they're getting a nice crisp edge and that nothing's going to fray on them, and it's going to last them for a long time. And if I singe the ends, the chances of anything poking out or not working properly is much less. And there we go. Alright, so we got that all done. Just going to clean up my mess here. Got ends everywhere. Oops, I'll drop that one, I'll get it later. I'm just going to shove that off to the trash can. Got some over here too. Alright, so here's where the magic happens, right? So you saw how I kind of staggered that out. So I'm going to pull this way, just like I was doing. I'm going to use this tie in the back to hold it, and I'm going to shape my loops now. So I've got these. Use my hands to shape the loops out. I'm going to arrange everything here. So I've got some different colors going. And then we're gonna pull this out as well. And there we go. There's our bow. My bow, which is right here, is dead center. And we're going to use this tie that we placed on the back just to get that in there. And I'm just going to line this up. Okay, and now that we have that secured, I'm just going to flip it. Make sure, don't like the way it's sitting. I think there's something, this fern is pushing it down. There we go. Okay, just going to make sure this sits up the way I want it to, so I'm just going to retie this real quick. Just getting it nice and tight so that we don't have any issues with it coming off later. And I'm going to trim this down. So I don't want to trim it too much because if someone wants to take this bow off later, then they can replace it and use this as an all-season wreath, but I am going to trim it some because it's just a little bit too long. That way I can just tuck it back behind here. And there we go. Now it looks better. So cute. So let me show you the finished product. So there we go. And now what I'm going to do is just add a couple more little picks around the bow, the ones that I saved, because I didn't want to have too much at one time. So I've got one piece coming out this way already. I think I'm going to put a piece kind of back here. Just glue this here. And then what I'm going to do is just stick this right back here behind the bow. And then I'm going to put this last piece on this other side. Just to use the whole bush. And there we go. So now this is our wreath, and that was super fast. So if I can move this back so you can see it good. Super quick, and we've elevated this store-bought wreath to something that's super pretty for patriotic. And then again, you could change out these flowers, change out this bow, and use it for any other season.